We're good to go.
All right, good morning, everyone. It is 11 o'clock on February 9th, 2023, and this is the Coastal Permit Administrator hearing. I am calling the meeting to order at 11 a.m. My name is Julia Krog. I am the Planning and Building Services Director and the Coastal Permit Administrator for today. So staff, do we have proper notice?
All items on the agenda have been properly noticed.
Thank you very much. So we're going to move straight into our regular calendar. We have our first item on the agenda, which is a continued item from the January 12th, 2023 meeting, CDP 2019-0018 for owner applicant Anna Denise Moody. And I see we have staff planner TSR present. And may I have an update on this project?
Thank you, Coastal Permit Administrator. Hi, I'm TSR. Today I'm presenting the CDP 2019-008 Moody on January 12th, like the administrator just stated. 2023, the CPA continued the project to give applicant time to provide additional information to staff. The applicant since has submitted the information. Staff would like to request a continuance to a date uncertain to allow time to revise the staff report.
Okay, and does the so you said a date uncertain, and I read your memo, does the applicant understand that that would require renoticing fees as well?
I have not mentioned that to them.
Okay, and I see the applicant has just joined us as well too. So was there anything additional from you, Tia?
No, that is
okay. Then we're going to go ahead and hear from the applicant now. So Ms. Moody, we've just brought you over. Please unmute yourself when you are ready. And I'm mainly curious, staff has requested a continuance of this item to a date uncertain. And so that way they can review the additional information that you've provided. And
okay.
That would trigger renoticing fees for the application. It's just covering the postage and such for us mailing that notice to adjacent landowners and such. So I'm curious if you have any other comments on the project today, and also if you're understanding of that requirement.
Yes, I do. We were supposed to readdress the outbuilding that we had dated, and I do have a question about that. I believe it's now exempt the work that I had done on it, and I'm wondering if I can complete that siding on that building as a maintenance.
And I'm going to look to Planner SAR on this, but my initial inclination is to say that you should wait until the Coastal Permit Administrator or the Coastal Development Permit has been decided on by the Coastal Permit Administrator before conducting any additional work on that structure. And Tia, do you have anything additional you'd like to add?
No, that is absolutely correct. The CDP will have to be approved prior to any improvement or any modification to any buildings.
Okay, so even though it's non-conforming, then it still needs permitting?
Yes, that building is non-conforming. So anytime we do any type of improvement or anything like that, we need to make sure that it's still can stay in within the non-conforming allowance.
I don't understand that.
If I may, it's really the location of your property, and the fact that it's non-conforming doesn't exempt you from the need for possibly coastal development permit authorization for conducting additional work. So part of
and that's because is that due to the biological study and whether it's in sensitive area or not?
It's due to your location west of the first public road as well. And also would be related to the biological resources. You're correct.
And also highly scenic.
Yes.
And what?
It's considered highly scenic.
Okay. That's not what the biological study said, but okay.
Also in the it's also in an ESHA.
Okay, I talked to Vandy, and he said because the damage was done by a natural disaster that I was able to repair what I've repaired, that would put it outside of permitting.
Perhaps I'm unclear on this, Ms. Moody, and I would actually suggest, I think this conversation could be had between you and Planner Saar after today's meeting, just to discuss whether or not there are any improvements that may be done. It sounds like perhaps you experienced storm damage on that structure.
Yes.
And so that's something that I think can be discussed with Planner TSR and also with Senior Planner Vandy as well. Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Off the record. Okay. Thank you very much.
So then if there's nothing additional from you, Ms. Moody, I'm going to go ahead and open up our public hearing here. And I do see we have several attendees on the line. If any members of the public wish to provide comment on this item, please use the raise hand feature. And I am not seeing any hands raised, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to the Coastal Permit Administrator. And I am going to follow staff's recommendation and continue this item to a date uncertain. And again, Ms. Moody, that will just mean that you will be required to pay renoticing fees as part of that hearing when it's rescheduled. And staff will follow up with you on the specific fee amount that would be due to the department.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so that concludes item 3A on today's agenda. Next, we have matters from staff. Are there any matters from staff today? I am not seeing any matters from staff. All right, and then we're going to go to matters from the public. The Coastal Permit Administrator welcomes participation in meetings. This item is limited to matters under the jurisdiction of the Coastal Permit Administrator, which are not on the posted agenda, and items which have not already been considered by the Coastal Permit Administrator. No action will be taken. So I do believe we had someone request to speak under this item. Ms. Weibel, we've brought you over into the meeting. Please state your name for the record and begin your comments.
Good morning, Anne-Marie Weibel. I sent an email to Julia Krog, Nash Gonzalez, and Matt Kidorowski on 1/24 of this year. I understand that Ms. Krog probably hasn't been able to really deal with that email because you're just back from a sabbatical. And I asked in my letter to get a response right away and schedule a post-CDP right away in regards to AT&T's work that they did on the Borovich Road in connection with a wireless communication facility. They installed 43 telephone poles and overhead fiber optic cables without notifying the Planning Commission, the staff, or the Coastal Commission, or the public. And so it took the public to bring it to the attention to the Planning Department, and the work was stopped. They apparently got a permit from the Transportation Department, but even the Coastal Commission agreed that a post-CDP should happen for this project. And the supervisors allowed them to finish the work. But in the meantime, the Navarrete community has been waiting patiently to hear when a post-CDP would be scheduled. And so I heard from Navarrete residents on January 24th that they're fairly certain that the tower is now on and has been on even at the end of last year. Some feel it has been on since March. And some residents feel that they have seen an increased radio frequency emission and feel uncomfortable being in the neighborhood of this tower. I would like to know when the CDP will come to the public for a hearing, and why is it that AT&T gets special privilege? An individual wanting to get a CDP approved would have to reapply and pay more money as no progress was made on this application. And in the meantime, the recent storms created an ugly scene where these cables were haphazardly tied to power poles, phone poles, and trees. And it's really messy. I would encourage you to come and check it out. I said in my email that I would be glad to send photos. We're dealing with the coastal zone. We're dealing with highly scenic area, and it is not okay that these installations are above ground, especially with the storms, the increased storms we've had lately. So I hope, Ms. Krog, you might have an update for us, and if not, let the public know what's happening as far as that is concerned.
Thank you, Ms. Weibel. I will be responding to your email. I do have it flagged for follow-up. You're correct. I'm still working on getting back from my time out of the office and catching up on items, but you will get a response.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And then are there any other members of the public who wish to speak under this public expression time? I'm seeing no hands raised, so I'm going to go ahead and move to the end of our agenda, which is adjournment, and adjourn the Coastal Permit Administrator meeting at 11:12 a.m. Thank you.